Isn't it true that a 50-year mortgage would be cheaper monthly? In the short term, yes, but long term, if you don't refinance to better terms, you're going to get by the interest.
In today's video, we're covering one of the biggest changes ever proposed for the American housing markets. It's the 50-year mortgage. So yes, 50 years, 5 decades, half a century.
If any one of my clients came to me and said that they're going to use the 50-year mortgage, I'm not putting my name on that, and I'm walking away from you.
50-year mortgages, good idea, bad idea. What would your recommendation be?
Great idea. I love 50-year mortgages.
Oh, you said that so quick.
I know you're going to attack me.
Well, not attacking. I'm just irritated with a 50-year mortgage.
Everyone's freaking out about the 50-year mortgage that just dropped, but I think it's pretty genius.
President Donald Trump has just proposed a new 50-year mortgage, which has not been done since FDR's 30-year mortgage. So today we're going to go ahead and look at a few videos to gauge the sentiment of this new proposal.
Isn't it true that a 50-year mortgage would be cheaper monthly? In the short term, yes, but long term, if you don't refinance to better terms, you're going to get by the interest. So if you get out a $400,000 loan for 30 years at 6%, your monthly payment's about $2,400 a month. If you do 50 years, it's going to be $2,100 a month. So on paper and technically it's $300 cheaper, but the long run, the interest is piling up. So on the 30-year, if you never refinanced, it would cost you about $463,000 in interest. And a 50-year, if you did the whole 50 without a refinance, would cost about $850,000. So yes, you're saving kind of upfront for a handful of years to $300, but on the back end, it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands more. So if they do introduce the 50-year mortgage, it might just be a rare product that some rare cases it could be used as a benefit. But as a blanket go-to for all Americans, I think the 15 to 30 choice is where it needs to stay. But at least people are throwing ideas out there. It's been a while since we've heard like an idea. Not that big of a fan, but I hope they continue to produce ideas so we can help first-time home buyers.
And he's pretty spot on in this video. One of the issues with the 50-year mortgage is just the insane amount of interest that you will accrue over the life of the loan. And this is on top of the already insane interest that accrues on a normal 30-year mortgage. Granted, the average American stays in their home for about 11 years. Many Americans tend to refinance their homes as well when better interest rate opportunities arise. So are there some scenarios where a 50-year mortgage could be conducive to your success? Sure, potentially, there's always an exception. And like he said, at least it's a proposal from the Trump administration. However, the problem is for the vast majority of Americans, a 50-year mortgage just doesn't make sense because it doesn't lessen your mortgage all that much, but it makes the amount you pay back so much more at the end of the loan. So it begs the question, what is the solution for the housing affordability crisis? And truly, it just comes down to a shortage of housing. And that's become apparent due to the overwhelming amount of data that has come out recently. An analysis from the Zillow Group Seattle shows us that America's housing shortage grew to an all-time high of 4.7 million units. According to a new Zillow analysis, this deepening housing deficit remains the prime driver of the nation's housing affordability crisis. So while I understand where the 50-year mortgage comes from and why it was proposed, it's not the solution that's going to fix our housing affordability crisis.
In today's video, we're covering one of the biggest changes ever proposed for the American housing markets. It's the 50-year mortgage. So yes, 50 years, 5 decades, half a century. Now let's talk about what's being proposed today. The Federal Housing Finance Agency, the FHFA, under Director Bill Pult, is working on a proposal to extend the standard mortgage from 30 years to 50 years. And Pult even said, "We are indeed working on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer." And President Trump supports the idea. And the pitch is very simple. It will lower monthly payments and make housing feel more affordable. But I just want to tell you that that's just the pitch. Because, okay, when they say lower monthly payments, that does not tell the full story, not even close. So I want to show you what the benefit actually looks like and then what it really costs you. So I want to show you the pros and cons, so the benefits and the drawbacks, and we're going to start with the benefits, to be fair. So here's an example that the media keeps using. So let's just run with it and analyze it. Let's just say the median home price is, we're going to use this as the starting figure, $415,200. And let's just say that you put a 10% down payment. And the interest rate that we're going to work with, let's just say around 6.17%. So these are like the going rates. Okay, if you take the 30-year mortgage payments, that's going to break out to $2,288 a month. If you go with the 50-year mortgage payments, it's going to be $2,022 a month. So that's a difference of $266 a month, right? Okay, so yes, the monthly payments goes down, but here's the problem. Take a look for yourself. The monthly savings are tiny and the long-term cost is enormous. So I'm going to show you the part that nobody's putting in the headlines. So here are the hidden costs of the 50-year mortgage. So the first thing is that you're going to pay much more interest. So if you're going to take a $348,000 loan at 6%, then with a 30-year mortgage interest rate, this is how much interest you're going to pay. You're going to pay $403,117. Now, if you go with the 50-year mortgage, I mean, look at the interest that you're going to pay. You're going to pay $751,113. So that's nearly $350,000 more in interest for the exact same house. Now, the second thing is that the second con is that you're barely going to be building equity. So if we compare the two, after 30 years of payments, a 50-year borrower will still owe $386,000. Meanwhile, the 30-year borrower is going to be completely paid off, debt-free, and building wealth and security. So that's a massive difference. So here's another con, that you're still going to be paying your mortgage in your 70s and 80s. Like, I want you to think about that, a 50-year mortgage. Like, how do you like the ring to this? Your mortgage payoff date is going to be the year 2075. I mean, you might be blowing out your 80 birthday candles and paying off your mortgage at the same time.
And what we can do here is just quickly look at a statistic that shows what the average first-time homebuyer's age is. One eye-popping stat summed up just how bad things have gotten in the recent past. The average age of the first-time homebuyer was 40 years old in 2025, according to the National Association of Realtors, NAR. Which means if we were going to use this stat and then stack on a 50-year mortgage, that means that this individual would not be done paying off their property until they were 90. And last time I checked, the vast majority of Americans don't live that long. So yes, what we would basically be having is people forever in debt with their homes, never having a paid off property if they were to partake in the new 50-year proposed mortgage.
Another problem is that this doesn't fix home prices. It doesn't fix home affordability. It actually makes home prices go up. And I'll tell you that this one is very important because, okay, if you have lower monthly payments, then what does that mean? It means that more people are going to qualify. And what's that going to mean? You're going to have more people bidding up home prices, and then that's going to lead to higher home prices. So I'm telling you, a cheaper payment does not make housing more affordable. It makes the price go up, and this could bring back the bidding wars instantly. There's going to be legal hurdles and risks if they try to push this through. So I want you to know that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac generally do not buy loans longer than 30 years. So if you want a 50-year mortgage to exist, then major laws and regulations must change. So that would be a huge undertaking. Like, Congress would have to get involved, FHFA, they would have to rewrite rules, and mortgage-backed securities would have to be redesigned, basically. And investors, of course, they're gonna have to be willing to buy 50-year mortgage bonds, and that's not gonna be a simple flip of the switch.
And that's an extremely solid point. By adding more qualified buyers into the market, this would undoubtedly cause housing prices to increase. More buyers in the market means more bids on homes, and more bids on homes means more bid wars. And of course, more bid wars on properties that are for sale mean higher prices at the end. Let's go ahead and look at the comments. To me, I thought the 30-year amortization schedule was already theft. I bet lenders will charge a higher interest rate for the 50-year mortgage than the 30-year mortgage. Potentially, we'd have to see, right? Paying $1 million for a $250K house is crazy. Yeah, I mean, we're already doing that. You're already paying way more than what the house is valued at with a regular 30-year mortgage because you're paying so much interest, and you pay all that interest up front. So the only way to avoid that is to pay ahead on your home precipitously. All right, let's go ahead and transition into today's irrelevant segment and take a quick break from the 50-year mortgage.
Hey man, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I'm a girl.
I wasn't talking to you.
Time machine, definitely.
I'm a girl. I wasn't talking to you. Why are you talking? Shut up. I love it. Man, this video went crazy viral. Just look at the likes on these comments. Top comment says I wasn't talking to you. That was great. Hey man, I'm a girl. Obviously wasn't talking to you then. Yeah, why'd you even speak up, bro? Like, you're sitting next to a man. He says, hey man, if you could have any power, what would it be? And she's like, I'm a girl. Like, then shut up. No one's talking to you. Time machine, definitely. Every man knows exactly why. Yeah, to get away from her. Her superpower is interrupting conversations. Time machine is a power move. He's trying to reset the moment he met her. She's going to be losing sleep over this 200%.
If any one of my clients came to me and said that they're going to use the 50-year mortgage, I'm not putting my name on that, and I'm walking away from you. That is the most... You might as well just throw your money away in that situation. The 10-year difference on that and just interest alone and equity wouldn't add up. Any person that has any basic knowledge, sorry, my freaking seatbelt. Any person that has basic knowledge knows that doesn't add up to any person in the world with common sense. The same amount of time in 10 years, that you get a property on a 50-year mortgage versus a 30-year, I mean, you're looking at a difference of, you know, having $15,000 versus 40. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, this problem that we have here is a lot deeper than the lending. Only people that are smiling and happy at this, that if people bite on it, are the banks, because they're going to make a ridiculous amount of money on people that are not going to have the people in their corner or hired for them to tell them that this is not a good idea.
Yeah, because essentially the 50-year mortgage turns you into like a renter, but a renter that also has to pay for maintenance and repairs. And he's right. I could just see the banks right now rubbing their hands together because they're the true winners in this mortgage system that we have in America. But let's look at a couple people play devil's advocate and see why some people might think the 50-year mortgage is a good thing.
50-year mortgages, good idea, bad idea. What would your recommendation be?
Great idea. I love 50-year mortgages.
Oh, you said that so quick.
I know you're going to attack me.
Well,
I'm
not
ready.
attacking. I'm just irritated with a 50-year mortgage. I think I'm with you, but I'm irritated.
FDR added the 20-year mortgage, and home ownership went from 40% of people to 65% of people. I am a big believer in Americans need to own homes.
Amen.
Corporations are buying up homes very, very quick. We're seeing cash deals even in Arizona very, very quick when no one else can buy because the corporations want to buy up all the homes. They want to control what the average person pays for rent. So rent control, they'll just decide it's $2,500, $3,000. And if you can't buy a home, you can't compete.
Maybe explain the benefits for a first-time home buyer.
Totally. You can get a low interest rate. Your parents might tell you need 20% down. Sure, that's awesome, but you don't need that. The market, especially in America, is going to keep going up because of inflation. If there's a 50-year mortgage, the market's going to jump. We're going to see an aggressive climb here because it means more people can buy homes. But there's tons of government programs, and I mean, they're going to give it out to a lot of people. So why not let you be one of those people? They will pay a lot of your down payment. I had a young couple the other day. The government gave them $30,000 that's forgivable in 3 years if they hold that home. Just apply for the grant, take the grant, get the forgivable loan, and start building a legacy.
And there you have it, a pro 50-year mortgage take. And we'll look at one more.
Everyone's freaking out about the 50-year mortgage that just dropped, but I think it's pretty genius. And if you're new here, I'm Theoni the lender. I've been a lender for 10 years. I help people every single day from this app buy, sell, and refinance. Let's get into this because I have such an interesting take on this that most loan officers do not share. And I'll start by saying that they don't share the same idea because they're loan officers, not loan advisors like I am. Everyone keeps talking about the amount of interest that you're about to pay over 50 years. And I will say it is pretty crazy. I saw an example for a $400,000 house that it was like 1.7 million in interest or something crazy if you kept that loan for 50 years. But what most people are missing is that the average homeowner in America only lives in their home for 11 years. And that is to say they live there, but they're likely going to refinance the terms of that mortgage. Like the likelihood of you having a mortgage that you get today for 30 years is very low, even if you live in that home for 30 years. And that's because you're going to do a cash out refinance. The rates are going to come down. So you're going to refinance. And every time you refinance, like right now, I'm taking people from a 30-year term to like a 20 or 15-year term. So the idea behind a 50-year mortgage isn't because we want you to be in this house for 50 years. I think that's actually insane that people are even in the same loan terms for even 30 years. The idea is that it gives you breathing room to qualify for a house. And that's the problem that we're facing right now. People cannot qualify. Yes, the savings is like maybe $200 difference from a 50-year to a 30-year, but that $200 difference actually makes a difference when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage. I just ran this example with one of my clients. They're trying to buy a $700,000 house. And if their interest rate was, let's just say worst case, 7%, they're going to be paying like $4,800 for that $700,000 house at a 30-year term. If they got a 50-year mortgage, then they're paying $4,000. But here's the kicker. Their initial budget was like $5,000. So they can still do a $5,000 payment and pay less than 30 years of that entire mortgage. And this is only because this is their dream home. So they're going to be living there for probably actually 30 years. But if you're not going to be living in that house for 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 years, then the amount of interest that you pay in the overall amount is kind of null and void. Especially when you're working with an advisor like me. I tell my clients, if you make $100 more to the monthly payment, you shave off like 4 to 7 years of that entire loan term. And of course, you're saving a ton of money in interest by doing that because now you're not paying the interest on the full term. So honestly, this is just like another tool in the toolbox for a strategy that you can use so that more people can just get into a house and then they can figure out that monthly payment later.
So there you have it. 2 pro 50-year mortgage takes. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. At the end of the day, I can see some of the positives to a 50-year mortgage. You can get more people to qualify, but that is going to cause housing prices to go up because there's just more people in the pool, and that means more offers on homes. The only way I could ever personally co-sign this is if you pledge and you know that you're going to pay ahead on that mortgage precipitously. And I'm not talking $100 ahead like what she was saying there. I'm talking $500 ahead, $1,000 ahead, $1,500 ahead, which at that point, you don't need a 50-year mortgage. If you are able to pay $1,500 ahead on your mortgage, you could just get a 30-year mortgage and pay ahead on that. So in most cases, I would never recommend a 50-year mortgage, but it is nice to see some videos of some people playing devil's advocate when it seems like most people are just not a fan of the insane amount of interest that would accrue over the life of this half-a-century mortgage. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this one was informative and you learned something from it. I always try to keep these videos fun but provide value at the same time. So if you enjoyed, drop a like or leave a comment down below. I appreciate every single one of you for watching. Remember guys, the best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is today. The time is always right to do what is right. Peace out.